You may be wondering, after years and years of narrative around competencies and skills and whatnot, about leadership and so many other things, that how come I am now connecting leadership strengths or success to habits? Well, stay with me as I talk about this, and it's a fairly simple but very important concept. And as you stay with me, whatever lessons you take, do leave a comment so that I know what worked for you, and do share and like the video and subscribe and spread this message. Now, coming back, many times we have heard this kind of feedback that be strategic or take ownership, or we have said this to our teams or people who are working around. Maybe we've said this even to our friends or children. Build trust, be diligent, be this, that, and the other. This is your improvement area. Why don't you try this? However, in most of these conversations, we have really never asked this question, that what daily behaviors will make the change possible? Because ultimately, what we do every single day is live our life through our habits. Now, whether you look at the paradigm that was offered, in Tiny Habits by B.J. Fogg, or when you look at James Clear's concept of atomic habits, they and so many other neurologists and psychologists have shown us the power of habits that we have in our life. And habits are not just routines here. Habits are much more than that. Habits are almost like the muscle on which the skill sits. So, the competency, etc., it's just a skill. The knowledge also gives you the skill. However, what it sits on is the habit. That habit is the muscle. Now, what is this habit? This habit is a bunch of consistent ways of thinking, feeling, and acting. And that thinking is about narratives. It's about the self-talk that we carry. It's a part of who we are and our identity. And I'll give you a few examples to help you understand this, right? Like, let's say, for example, strategic thinking and self-awareness. We have said this so many times to people, be strategic, think. Now, what is it to be strategic? To be strategic, you have to be able to combine your hindsight with your insights and intuition to arrive at foresights. Or you have to have the awareness, the ability to observe, watch, add up things, to make choices, to shape your environment, to maneuver yourself. And that is what also self-awareness and social skills is. So when we say become emotionally intelligent, do this. You can teach them the skills associated with this. You can teach them the concept, the English, or whatever language in which you will describe this. But unless the person has the ability to, or the habit to, do self-regulation and daily reflection, daily writing, daily generation of insights, the person will never succeed in strategic thinking or self-awareness. So the habit of writing journals, the habit of writing reflections of how my day went, the habit of putting down for myself what did I decide to do, what did I end up doing, what changed, and how will I try and regulate myself tomorrow. It's a great habit. So the habit is daily reflection and writing, and if you do that, you can very likely become a great strategic thinker and self-awareness. Obviously, yes, you'll have to do a few deeper reflections in that. However, that's the habit, remember. Or let's take another one. A lot of us want to be very disciplined in our life. We want to execute things. We want to show ownership. However, sometimes we say, oh, I got this distraction, somebody else wanted something else, priority shifted, so many excuses come up. But what is it that we could have done? Our habit that could have helped us with execution, discipline, and ownership is time structuring and bringing things to a closure. Now, this is a habit that we need to have. Are we able to wake up on time? Are we able to do what we really need to do in a certain given time? Eat within a certain time period? Leave for work or start our day at a certain time period? Finish chores in a certain given time period? Have our food or meals in between, or relaxation time, or time that we need to give to our loved ones or family, or do certain essential things of life like paying bills, getting the fuel, etc. on time. All of this is time structuring. Are we able to take out time And this is one of the greatest of weaknesses of today's people's life. There are no boundaries. There is no time to wake up, no time to sleep, no time given to essential tasks. So many people forget to pay their bills, and had it not been for the auto debits there, many of them would have ended up in defaults. There are so many people who rush to get fuel at the last moment, and tons of such things. In fact, there are so many people who forget to take medicines, get their medicine refill, go for their checkups because they cannot do time structuring. So what's the habit there? The key habit is time structuring and bringing things to a closure. If we have not learnt this, we will not be successful. In fact, time structuring and closures is actually a great skill that students learn in school and college. That's why we had timetables, homework. So we were not doing all of that, so that some great skill would have developed. In fact, most of our years at school could have got finished in 3-4 months as against the full year. Most of what we learnt in college could have been learnt in much lesser time. It was just the rigor. And what was the rigor trying to teach us? Time structuring. But many of us have failed in schools and colleges, because we could not manage our time and we had so many distractions. So bad time spent then is now showing up in life, and we are bad executors. We are bad at ownership. Or look at this. Many of us are told that you need to develop situational awareness or people awareness or emotional awareness or team awareness or market insights, market intelligence. And these are all skills to have, great competencies and great skills to have. But I can tell you, you will never develop it if you don't have the habit of just sitting and observing things, sitting and reading, or if you have not developed perceptiveness, trying to understand why is somebody behaving in a certain way. Like, I'll give you my example. When I sit at airports, I just sit quietly and watch people. But you know what most people are doing? They're either lost in their laptops or they're lost in their phones or doing some strange things. People just don't have the capability to observe. If you can't observe, if you can't read a book and good heavy literature, if you cannot understand why people behave in a certain way, you will never achieve situational awareness, people awareness, team awareness, market insights. It's not going to happen. That habit is not there. Understand again? Or here are another 2 examples of habits which create competency. If you have the habit of doing deep work, you can sit down for hours and do deep work, then you will have the competencies of problem solving, creative outcomes. You will even have great focus in life. But if you don't have the habit of prioritizing deep work, if you cannot sit in one place and work for hours, you will not have that problem solving ability. If you don't have the habit of asking deep questions and finding deep answers, and these are habits to have in everything in life, you will not be a great influencer. You will not have the ability to solution. You will not have the ability to negotiate. Make sense? And I can go on like this. I have a list of some 30-40 habits that I ask most human beings around me who I work with to develop over a period of time. These are important things to do. So go ask yourselves. And why am I talking to you about all of these things? Remember what I said. You need to have muscle. Only if you have muscle can you learn the skill. So do I believe you can learn anything? Yes, given the time and resources, you can learn everything to a decent degree, to a degree where your basic orientation towards it allows. You may become an expert at something, but only a practitioner at some things. But for you to learn that skill or the knowledge, etc., you need to have certain habits, the muscle behind it. So next time you want to learn something, you want to change, you want somebody to learn, somebody to change, whether it's your child, your team, or whoever, always ask this question. Audit the habit. What's the habit here that needs to change? Feedback others on the habit. What's the habit that needs to change so that the skill, the outcome, the impact comes in? What is the habit to be developed, right? So audit the habit, feedback on habits, develop the habit. If you do this, you will facilitate the development of muscle. Remember, first muscles and then skill. That's what happens in gym also, or with sports people, or with musicians, or with artists. In every single place, even factory workers develop the muscle to handle, maneuver things, then they become skillful. So always in life, the muscle is the habit, the the capability, the competency comes after the habit. Develop your habits.